All right, I just want to make a quick video just to talk about using MATLAB to solve for the minimum of a function of one variable. There's a homework problem. I asked you to do that. As I mentioned in the class, now everybody has access to MATLAB. I mentioned that in the early video, the first video of the class. And so I'm starting to integrate MATLAB back in and having you use it a little more. So this is just a very simple example of how to use one of the MATLAB functions called fminbnd. I think that means bound, like fminbound. We'll talk about it in a moment. So take a look at this graph here. I just got this in Google. I just made it up. Very simple polynomial, 3x cubed minus 4x squared minus 7x. And we are going to search for the minimum in the positive. You can see it right here at x equals 1.432. The minimum function of the function is minus 9.417. And so we're going to search for this minimum. Now we do have to be careful how we search for the minimum. We don't want to search for x less than 0. We don't want to go in the negative because obviously, as you can tell, the graph just goes down to infinity. We want to find this, what we would call local minimum, here at 1.432. So how do we use MATLAB to do that, which is what I'm asking you to do with one of your McGraw-Hill problems, okay? If you read it, it says use this function, okay? So what do we do? Well, what you have to do is you have to define the function as we call a script. So in order to do that, you have to go to the editor, okay? So if you go near the top, and I know it's not showing this very well, but now I'll move it up here. It says new script here, okay? So you would click that new script, all right? And then then you'd have to type this out. And you can type it out just like I have here. So let's talk about it. You're defining what we call a function. Okay, a function in MATLAB is just a way to store a function in MATLAB, right? And so you would say function, and it should turn blue, and a space, and then you would say f equals, and then here's where you would name the function. Now I just called it HW2, homework 2, function 1, something like that, okay? You can call it whatever you want. And it's a function of x, okay? So it's a function of just one variable. Now you can have functions of multivariables. You can have all sorts of functions. This is a very simple example. All right, so we have function of x. And then you say, well, f equals, and then this is where you would type in the function. Note that I have to put in explicit multiplication. So you can't just type 3x to the third power. You have to put the multiplication, 3 times x to the third power minus 4 times x squared minus 7x. So that's the same formula that you just saw here before. Let's see if I can get that to pop up. Oops. No, I can't. Okay, it's not popping up for some reason. But okay, no big deal. Probably could pull this out, but whatever. It's the same function I just showed you. So in fact, let me go back to MATLAB. Here, that should be good. Exit, hold on. Okay, I don't know what I did there, but anyways, it's the same function I just showed you. All right, so you would type that function in here again. So you have a homework problem, you would type your function in there, obviously not the same as mine. And once you've typed that all in, just like this form, f equals the function, blah, 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 all that, you would save it. You do have to save it as a M file, .m. And so notice I've saved it as HW2 fun1. So you use the same name here, okay? But you just put it as .m, okay? And you make sure you know where you saved it, okay? Save it in the same file, put it on your computer in the same place MATLAB is looking for it. So for instance, right here, MATLAB is looking for M files in my H drive MATLAB, okay? So it should be that wherever this folder is should be where you saved this file, okay? And then what you're going to do is you're going to use a built-in MATLAB tool called fminbnd. All right. So there's different ways you can use it. Probably the easiest thing, the first thing I would say is you want to maybe search the help. So if you type in help fminbnd, you're going to get a lot of stuff on it, okay? You're going to get all sorts of information about how to use that function, okay? This is the function I want you to use in your homework. The key thing really is this first part here. It says x equals fminbnd, the function, fun, and x1 and x2 are basically where you want to search, the search interval, okay? So we can do that. You can also, by the way, and we can do it like this, notice it has it set up like this way, where you have the open brackets x and fval equals fmin like that. What it does is it actually returns the value of the objective function and x into those two variables, okay? And you'll see it here in a moment. We're going to do it just like that. So I'm going to do this. I'm going to do this so we can see it. And I'm going to do it just like that. I'm going to say x and fval, open brackets like that, okay? And then we're going to do fminbnd, okay? Now, how do you call the function? The way you call that function is you have to use the at symbol, and then you have to type in whatever you saved it as. So I saved it as hw2 fun1, right? And then you put in the limits. So remember when I said we showed you the graph, we're not going to search in the negative range. Okay, we're only going to search in the positive range. And in this case, you don't have to search everywhere. I'm just going to search between 0 and 10 because I know that the minimum occurs in that range. Now, if you don't know where the minimum occurs, you certainly could search a larger range, okay, just to be sure. And by the way, you can graph it. If it's just a one-dimensional equation of one variable, you could also graph it. All right, so we're going to do that, and we'll hit enter. And you're going to see some things right there. So that should remind you, remember, x equals 1.432, and the function evaluated at x is minus 9.4. So that's exactly what the graph showed us, okay? And so you can do the same thing. Now, one more note, I'm about done. I said this quick video, is that this obviously is a minimization. So what do you do if you need to do a maximum? Well, it turns out that you can do a maximum by just multiplying the function, whatever function you want to maximize, just multiply by -1, and then you can minimize it, right? Because that's the same thing. So so if it asks you to multiply it, you can still use the same function, fminbnd, but now you're just going to multiply that function by -1 because now you're minimizing it, okay? So that's not hard at all. So hopefully that helps you. I just want to do something really quick to show you exactly how to use that function, MATLAB function fminbnd, which I asked you to do in one of the problems of McGraw-Hill.